I know. It's crazy.
Hard Rock.
I want to say eye-opener, but it's more of an eye-closer because I'm so goddamn tired after I do it. Come on.
Hard Rock.
DJ says something, and then after, we'll figure out what the hell he was talking about.
Hard Rock.
I just hope they get fatter and more unhealthy, and as they're yelling at me about, like, why we don't need health care.
Hard Rock.
And I don't have one of those carts at the mall yet, so I guess I'm doing pretty good.
Hard Rock.
Is anyone else exhausted from this show yet?
Hard Rock.
If my kids came home with a whole pocket full of fentanyl, I think I would just not give it to them.
Hard Rock.
Yeah, it's 50-50 whether the Great Pumpkin is going to show up or not, but it has absolutely nothing to do with Democrats. It's because Linus said if instead of when.
Hard Rock Lunchbox.
What is up, everybody in the Krusty Krab atmosphere, ethosphere, lithosphere? How's everybody doing? Welcome to another Hard Rock Lunchbox. Today is October 13th. In case you're watching Mean Girls, that would be 10 days later. 10 days after October 3rd, in case you're asking. I am trying to remember Tom Segura. I can't remember which comedy special it is, but he's like, you know, I'm here and whatever, and I'm completely falling apart. And that's literally how I've really tried to step into my cardiovascular health. So I'm trying to do a lot more. I've really forsaken any sort of like muscle building or anything. I mean, I know, like traditionally people think of me as very John Cena looking. Those days are over. So no, I'm trying to like lean into some cardio, doing some stair work. Like I have kind of a stated goal. Like I want to be able to go from the basement up to my bedroom on the second floor of my house. Yes, I'm rich. I have 2 floors and a basement. I know. It's crazy. What am I going to do with all that money? I want to be able to do that with a basket of laundry. See, there's the rub. I want to be able to do that without being out of breath. And I don't know where everybody's at, but like from a human being point of view, like the simple fact that I cannot go up, I'm going to say 26 steps carrying a load of laundry, dried laundry, not wet laundry, nothing like that, without being out of breath has been a real, I want to say eye-opener, but it's more of an eye-closer because I'm so goddamn tired after I do it. Come on. But it's really become kind of a thing. And I guess it's not comforting, but like, I guess I don't even know the word because it's not comforting, but let me just say it's comforting, and then we'll all try and figure out what I mean. Like, isn't that what this show is all about? Like, DJ says something, and then after, we'll figure out what the hell he was talking about. And I feel like that should be the new bumper for the show. It's like, I'll gladly pay a Tuesday for a hamburger. Like, I'll gladly say some shit right now, and we'll figure it out next Thursday. And that'll be future us's problem. But it's really been like this. Oh, the encouraging thing, or whatever, is that most people I speak to are in the exact same boat. And that's why I said it's not good, because I don't wish that on, people I care about, or anybody in general. No, that's not true. I definitely wish it on people I don't care about. Like, I just hope they get fatter and more unhealthy, and as they're yelling at me about, like, why we don't need health care and stuff like that. It's funny, I was working on a piece of copy yesterday for coverca.com, which is California. It's the California healthcare system and their whole plan, that they did a couple years ago to try and get everybody like good coverage. And the simple, like, radio is, and TV is more expensive, obviously, but radio ads are expensive enough. So, like, as I've gone through a bunch of these, I kind of realize, like, how important are certain things in the message, right? Like, well, saying that line will probably cost $6,000, right? Because of airtime and stuff like that. And the simple fact that they have to, the main point of this is that they're covering from routine checkups to emergency care and coverage for pre-existing conditions. The simple fact that they have to waste valuable copy time to say those three things, which I consider to be basic human rights, is just bananas. And the fact that people from the right constantly just yell and like, bah, 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 like socialism. Like, I have a lot to say on socialism anyway, but we'll get to that. I want to welcome everybody here. So yeah, I'm hoping to be able to carry laundry up and down the stairs. That's my new goal for 2023. Seriously, you have any idea how fat and sad it is? Like, I want to be able to carry laundry up 2 flights of stairs. Like, that's... I mean, I don't have one of those carts at the mall yet, so I guess I'm doing pretty good. Also, I can keep up with an errant soccer ball if I need to. I just can't do 2 in a row anymore. Can't do it. Can't do it. Is anyone else exhausted from this show yet? I mean, like, we are 5 minutes in, and I am just literally exhausted already. And it's definitely not you, it's me. It's funny, I tried to change the camera angle on this camera today because I was watching an old video. Oh, remember I told you I got like another strike at YouTube because I was spreading election lies? I still haven't had a chance to fight that one, but I'm going to because, clearly it's all... I was making fun of people that were spreading election lies. So in typical YouTube bot fashion, they just honed in on the thing I was saying. Because it's like, I can't even say it because I'm going to get in trouble again, but like... Let's just say YouTube had, a community standard policy that prevented you from saying that pumpkin pie was delicious, right? Now that's controversial, right? A lot of people don't think pumpkin pie is delicious, and those people are incorrect. But in America, you're allowed to think those things. That's kind of like freedom of thought, freedom of speech, and stuff like that. But let's just say YouTube's new community standard was you can't say anything about people not liking pumpkin pie. So let's say I went on YouTube and I watched, say, Joe Rogan or some other really big Fox host talk about how people don't like pumpkin pie. Now, they're allowed to say it because they have millions of viewers and YouTube doesn't censor them. But if I say the same thing, I will get a strike against me. And what basically just happened here is I was making fun of those people. And I said, some people think that pumpkin pie isn't delicious, and those people are wrong, right? So that's what I just said. But YouTube will find the pumpkin pie isn't delicious. It'll skip the some people say... and those people are wrong. And that's basically what just happened because it called me out for stuff on the election and the insurrection at the Capitol. And anybody that has listened to this show for more than half a minute knows what side of the aisle I'm falling on for that particular issue. I mean, yeah, you can spread me around the middle for a lot of stuff. And to be perfectly honest, in the latest election cycle, I've been leaning more conservative than I ever have in my entire life. But it's all fiscal and financially conservative because I think that there's some problems with what has been going on lately because I do. In fact, I was actually talking... I posted something about how the American government is now stepping in to sort of prevent a lot of influence on microchips from China, right? And I had said that this is exactly what we needed, and I didn't pitch the complete story. It's what we needed because of something else that had happened, and I was talking to Bill of the Hard Rock Lunchbox chat about that exact thing, and I was saying that what was good is that we just signed this huge, massive investment into U.S. chip makers that are going to be making all the computer chips in America. And the necessary step to that is if we're going to do all that, we need to limit the influence of outside American chip makers, primarily China. Now, that's just a strong and smart economic move anyway, but because of Huawei and everything that just went down with all the spying on the chips, and we have these microchips in everything from phones to cars to, computers, obviously, but that shit goes into, like, military-grade stuff, too. We just cannot afford to be in a situation where, A, we're dependent on China for those, especially if this Taiwan situation blows up, which I don't think it will. I think it's going to be just another kind of Cold War. But also, like, if they feel like embargoing. Now, China's really tight with Russia right now, and they felt like it. And China has a different world view. Like, they don't want to physically take it over. Like, that's that's old world. That's very Putin. That's not China. China wants to economically take things over. You know, like classically, like women in a relationship, they don't want to physically abuse you. They want to mentally abuse you, and it's a much better way to do things. And they're more suited for it. So, I kid the women's. Anyway, so I was saying that that's a really good idea, because if you're going to do this huge investment in American manufacturing and chip making, you have to protect against all the influence, because China will still undercut us, and we are just cheap, dumb fucks here in the United States, and that's cheaper, so I'll just get that. Why do you think that happened? Why do you think we're getting everything from overseas? Because we didn't want to pay to make it here. We'd much rather buy cheaper stuff that's done by, like, violating all kinds of, like, health, environment, and, worker standards and safety and all that other stuff, but it's cheaper, so we'll buy it from there. That's exactly how that exodus of manufacturing happened, and we can talk about that at a later date, because I'm just not going to talk about it now. But the reason that was important, and I thought it was a good thing that we just did, is because when we did the loan forgiveness thing that we just did, which I thought was a great idea. But if you remember when I was talking about it, the necessary component that needed to go with it was costs of community college and state colleges going forward. Because what happened is, once they did this thing where they just gave a whole bunch of money to people so they could pay off their debt, colleges started just banging up all the prices. And in fact, the average cost of state and private schools went up roughly, the government gave away around $10,000, anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 in reimbursement and loan forgiveness. And then right after that, within a week or a week to 10 days, state schools and private schools announced a raise of $10,000 to $20,000 in tuition. Because what the government needed to do was give that money and, like, cover those costs, and then lock down community and state schools. And they didn't do that. So they were like, all right, well, if the government's going to give away an extra $10,000, we can charge an extra $10,000, because all these families have just been saving all this money for college, and they're clearly comfortable borrowing all this, yada, yada, yada. So anyway, that's why it's important. But I don't like that. I don't like the free giveaway. I didn't like the last round of COVID stimulus. I didn't like the extension on unemployment. I thought, unless there were specific reasons to do those things that people could apply for, I mean, sure, make the application process pretty simple. Anybody that applied for any of the PPP, I forget what the loan stuff was. It was kind of a pain in the ass and was difficult unless you were with a major bank, but honestly, it didn't take all that long. And if it's a question of getting like $1,200, well, then you can figure out if it's worth it to you or not. And that's completely fine. Because honestly, if you're unemployed and you're just getting a government subsidy because you're unemployed, I think you can spend an hour filling out a form. Like, now we've just basically paid you to do that, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with it, and I don't think many people would push up against me, unless you're truly, like, beating the street 40 hours a day trying to, get a new job and stuff like that. But I don't think that's what happens. I think everybody just goes gig economy. By the way, lots of reports about gig economies coming out lately, and talking about just how absolutely horrendous they are for people, which I thought was just so goddamn obvious. And people are just, like, talking about it like it's oh my god, we didn't understand. Like, dude, if you're constantly in a gig economy, you're constantly hustling for cash. Like, literally hustling for cash. Like, you got to get this so you can get this money. You got to do this so you can get this money. You don't have time off. You don't get savings. You don't care about the wear and tear on yourself or your vehicle or your life or anything like that. And you're not building anything because it's all gig economy, and there's no loyalty whatsoever. Either way, like, from corporate loyalty or employee loyalty, like, what did they think was going to happen? Like, it's literally everybody in it for themselves. Like, pure capitalism. Anyway, those are some fun reports. If you see any of those, I would definitely check them out. I really, I don't so much remember what it was I was going to talk about. Oh, I did say there's a brand new Top 20 out today. You should check that out. I talk about what a twat the chick from Amityville Music Hall is, and how I won't set foot in there until she's been removed as manager or fired, and I implore as many bands as possible to also do that. I have not gotten around to messaging the PR companies and the booking companies to tell them exactly what my experience was, and I will include anecdotes from other bands without naming the other bands. But I think bands need to know. I think if I was coming in from out of state, and I was playing a show that I had a chance of getting screwed at, then I think I would want to know that in advance. And in fact, it's been good every time any band or any PR or any radio station has given me a heads up, because I can make changes. Even if I decide to keep the show, like, I'll get paid in advance. I'll find out who the people are to worry about and find out who the people are to connect with. So I will be doing that. I just need a little bit more time, because honestly, we were treated so badly, and the fact that other people were treated that badly and continue to get treated that badly, like, that's bad for my industry, and I want her out of there. And, you know, as soon as I have the time to do it, I will stop literally at nothing until she's been fired. And that's going to be fun for me. So that's a little pet project I get to work on during all the other pet projects I'm working on. So that's cool. Bacon is My Podcast, still in full swing. They have a full interview with Mike Gunzelman, host of The Gun Show. I don't know who that is. Oh, and Who Wants to Be an Emo Millionaire. Give that a shot. 7 Questions with Pennyboard. They're a band. You can check all that out on Strangerhood TV, and I believe they're podcasting now, so if you can't watch, you can always listen. But you can just check out Bacon is My Podcast and get all the information there. So, it's funny, and I'll probably talk about this a little bit more later. I've been keeping an eye on Fox News, which I recommend everybody to do, kind of around election time, because it just sort of tells you what other people are thinking. I've always found that to be unbelievably valuable in terms of understanding kind of Americana and what people are doing. I will tell you that one of the funniest things that I have seen, like, completely, is aside from all the normal scare tactics and that they're just keeping. By the way, they are just totally whitewashing everything that's going on in Florida. Florida is a hot mess, and personally, I could not be happy. They have not recovered even remotely from the hurricane. They are finding more and more out about DeSantis and this migrant stunt and just how much money it costs the taxpayers of Florida to fly 30 people in a charter jet. To get them from Texas. They're not even Florida migrants. To get them from Texas, bring them to Florida, just so they could fly them up to Martha's Vineyard is just bananas. Just bananas. So first of all, they're whitewashing all that. Second of all, the scare shit that they're doing. People are now talking about how, like, Democrats are wanting to, like, cancel Halloween because it's not safe or inclusion. You know exactly where I've heard that? I've heard that exactly one place. Can you guess? Yeah, it's Fox News. Fox News is the only place doing that. If certain communities feel like canceling, or like you can cancel Halloween because of safety concerns, maybe because they have, like, gun violence or whatever is going on in their town, like, yeah, man, let them figure it out. Local municipalities are more than capable of figuring that out. And they're talking about, like, the big fentanyl scare, how this is some big thing for Halloween because they're coloring the things different colors and it looks like rainbow. Like, listen, fucktard, they color them different things because they're different amounts of fentanyl. And fentanyl is not new. It's been killing people for years, but it's really only been killing minorities and junkies. And other than the opioid mess that in the middle of the country, that's your actual your audience, you don't give a shit. You've never given a shit. And so it's not new, but you're just breaking it out on Halloween because it might be targeting, like, rich white kids. Who gives a shit? We've got too many of them anyway. Like, I'm fine with that. And also, like, aren't you supposed to be testing your candy? Like, I test my kids' candy. If my kids came home with a whole pocket full of fentanyl, I think I would just not give it to them. But if you're going to be stupid and lazy enough in the middle of the country to be like, oh, that's nice, dear, like, go ahead and have it, then you deserve to have your kid have a fentanyl overdose. You're not qualified to be a parent. Like, it's really that simple. If you can't follow the basic rules of Halloween, don't play. Like, don't play. But I will tell you, the only people raising these flags are Republicans, yeah, because they're trying to scare you right ahead of an election. Nobody's canceling Halloween. I mean, yeah, it's 50-50 whether the Great Pumpkin is going to show up or not, but it has absolutely nothing to do with Democrats. It's because Linus said if instead of when. If the Great Pumpkin shows up. Always say when. Always go left, always say when. But my current favorite thing is what went down over the weekend? No, Monday. Monday over at Lee Zeldin's house. Good old Lee Zeldin from Shirley. From Shirley. That bastion of security and nice neighborhood and whores and opioids. Everything else that's going down in Shirley. You're doing a great job, Lee. Let me just tell you that. But yeah, if you haven't heard, there was a shooting out in front of his house. So a couple people got shot out in front of his house, and he was so surprised that he was just shaken. He could not believe that this, first of all, that this could happen in front of his house. Like, dude, you live in Shirley. It's already happened in front of your house. This is just the first time you've been running for governor, so it's a good press up. But also, like, you want everybody in New York to have guns. What did you think was going to happen? And we don't even have that. If you become governor, everybody in New York will get to have guns. Like, that'll be what do you think that looks like? What do people do with guns? Not everybody is super cool like Homer Simpson and shooting the top off their beer bottle. I mean, I know that's my goal. I'm going to learn how to shoot so I can turn off lights, open beer cans, and all that other stuff. And also, like, you know, whenever Kaz fucks up, like, they're like, Kaz, you missed the wrong note. Choo-choo-choo. I assume that's how you do it. But my absolute favorite part of the whole thing, an incredibly violent thing that shouldn't really happen to anybody's family, including Lee Zeldin. It's awful. It's an awful experience. He announced on national TV, no less, that while he and his wife were up pandering to people in the Bronx during a Columbus Day parade, his twin 16-year-old daughters were home alone. Great job, Zeldin. That's great. So what I'm hearing is that in your violent-ass neighborhood that you reside in and you're congressman for, and you can't control gun violence in your own yard, your twin 16-year-old daughters are home alone. That doesn't get you Parent of the Year. I don't know what will, but it sure as fuck is not going to land you in the governor's office, you dumb douche. So I hope if anybody was leaning towards Lee Zeldin and how great he's going to be for New York, definitely message me. Message me directly. Don't even go through Monty, because I definitely want to have a conversation with you, because absolutely everything this dude says is absolutely everything that I'm opposed to. From fracking to spending taxpayer dollars to rename the Mario Cuomo Bridge back to the Tappan Zee. Like, dude, I call it the Tappan Zee now. Like, that's fine. Like, we're going to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to change all those signs? Because why? You don't like the name Cuomo? It wasn't even Andrew. It was Mario. Like, dude, give me a break. And he ran a Facebook ad about this. Like, are you shitting me? That's how you spend our money? Like, whitewashing history? Like, oh, it was never Mario Cuomo. Mario Cuomo, for all of his faults, was twice the governor you would ever be. And, like, he's dead now, I think, and he's still a better person than you are. And I'm going to shut up because I'm getting upset. And I told you, I am trying to work on my cardio. Will be more namaste going forward. Probably not ever. But if we have any Lee Zeldin fans, yeah, definitely message me. I would love to know what you think, why you like anything he has to say. Like, oh, by the way, if it's just getting rid of these migrants and immigrants, like, don't bother. Like, I know that already. I think, honestly, I don't need to get rid of them, but I do need to do a better job with them. So not that I'm on your side, because I'm not super extremist like you are, but we can have the immigrant conversation kind of whenever you want, because I am definitely open for ideas, especially since we have such a jobs thing and worker shortage. I think being really mad at people that want to work is the wrong thing, but I'm willing to have that conversation, but not with Lee Zeldin as governor. So that's about all I got. Because I was a bit unhinged, and because I didn't really know what I was going to talk about, and I didn't even realize how upset I was about the whole Lee Zeldin thing, but I'm glad his daughters are okay. I'm sad that he is as well, but what are you going to do? But I feel like you've earned this. So thank you for listening to the Top 20. I hope you enjoy the rest of the Hard Rock Lunchbox, and yeah, man, I'll be here, unfortunately.